Good evening. Welcome to our committee of the whole meeting, special committee of the whole meeting today on May 21st. I'm Councillor Jay Brennan, the chair. I'll begin with the land acknowledgement. On May 21st, 2024, we acknowledge that the sacred land on which Smith Falls is now located has been the site of human activity for over 10,000 years and is rich in Indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and ceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might meet here today. We are also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in making the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, we need to care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace, friendship, and being mindful of generations to come. So I'll call the meeting to order at 5:01, and I have a recommended motion for approval of the agenda that the May 21st, 2024 special committee of the whole meeting agenda be approved as circulated. Moved by Councillor Robinson, second by Councillor McGuire. All in favor? Thank you. Any disclosure of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest and general nature thereof? Seeing none. We have no approval of the minutes. We have no delegations. I understand we have one or two director supports, and Acting CEO McMunn will tell us about them.
Do I need that mic? Good evening, members of council. Just one quick director's report this evening. As council is aware, we took the water tower out of service on Sunday, May 12th to facilitate some repairs from a leak that we experienced back in the winter. So we brought the contractor in to facilitate those repairs. We expected it would take about a week. We were expecting for the work to be completed on Friday. As it turns out, we didn't get finished up until Sunday. So I just wanted to advise council and folks sitting at home that the tower is back in service as it normally would be, and the repairs went quite well. Okay. With that, happy to take any questions.
Okay, any questions for anyone? Good, thank you for that. Okay. Good to know. I'll move. I take it there's no more director's reports. We have no committee of the whole consent reports, no in camera, so we're right to priority issues. And 10.1 is the award RFT 24PW017 primary and final tank gates report. Back to you, Director McMunn.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, so the report that I have in front of you this evening is for the replacement of the primary and final tank gates at the Water Pollution Control Plant. As council will recall, this was a 2024 capital budget item and has been approved in the 2024 capital budget. I'll read the recommendation that council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls pass a resolution to award contract 24-PW-017 for the supply and installation of primary and final tank gates at the Water Pollution Control Plant, and further that council authorize the mayor and clerk to execute a contract agreement with ProPipe Construction, a division of Dalcon Constructors Limited, to an upset limit of $364,496.91 excluding HST. So as I mentioned, the purpose of this report is to solicit an approval from council here this evening for this work to proceed. The existing gates that are in play at the Water Pollution Control Plant, they've been in service since 1962 in a process environment that doesn't, over time the metals and whatnot deteriorate due to the influent that's in the waste stream coming into the waste plant. So the issue there is annually the operations staff down at the wastewater pollution control plant, anytime that they take those tanks out of service, they have to sandbag the inlet side where the gates would normally stop the flow. Very, very laborsome, takes a lot of time. It doesn't block off all of the flow that does come into the primary and final gates, tanks. So it is operationally, it does present some challenges for staff, anywhere from time to just health and safety concerns that we have for the operations staff at the plant. The town issued a tender on bids and tenders on March 21st, 2024. We felt it prudent that there be a mandatory site visit for this particular work, so the contractors would come in at the same time, review the work. Staff at the time would answer any questions that the contractors would have, just to ensure that everybody was on the same page. The site visit was attended by 4 proponents: JPB Fabrication, GTI CSM, Black & McDonald, and ProPipe Construction. As it turns out, we received 2 bid submissions, one from JPB Fabrication in the amount of $385,899.92, and the other from ProPipe Construction in the amount of $364,496.91. So as stated before, our recommendation is to go with the low bid submission on this particular project and award to ProPipe Construction. We did have R.V. Anderson, who was our consultant on this project, put this package together for proponents to bid. They did do a review of the 2 submissions, and they did find out that that JPB Fabrication did not satisfy the tender requirements in that they didn't provide a bid bond or an agreement to bond. The agreement to bond would be for performance bond and a labor and materials bond and 100% value of the work. Upon further review from R.V. Anderson, it was also noted that both respondents had not included the proper gate model. So back a number of weeks ago, we went back to to ProPipe and had a discussion with them. As it turns out, we thought that they were going to come back and increase the price based on the fact that they had got the wrong gates provided from the vendor in the first place. So we felt that that may increase the cost through a negotiation. As it turns out, they're going to hold their original price. The vendor that had provided the quote for the gates in the first place had made an error. Coincidentally, they had provided a price to both of their proponents, so they held their price, which is good for the town. So that brings us in well under budget for this particular work. As noted in the report, we had $750,000 in the we had some carryover from 2023, and then we added to it in 2024 to bring up the total to $750,000 for this work. That estimate of $750,000 was based on R.V. Anderson's experience at the time. And keep in mind that we were kind of at the tail end of COVID too. We felt that prices would be significantly higher than what we experienced through this tender process, which I guess is a good news story. We budgeted $750,000. We're only looking at spending $364,000 and change plus HST. So with that, through the chair, I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks for that. Any questions? Councillor McKenna?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I support the recommendation. Director McMahon, is there any, when they're installed, is that a lengthy process and any impact on the operations of the plant while they're being installed?
Yeah, they'll have to, so through the chair, they'll have to obviously dewater the tanks. I'm not 100% certain on operationally how long it takes. But yeah, they'll have to dewater the tanks. Yeah, I'm sorry, Peter. I can't answer that question. I wish I had someone here.
I'm just worried about it. I'm not worried. Curious about any impact on the public and our system.
No, through the chair, no impact on the public for this operation.
Flush away.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Good one. Councillor McGuire.
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Director McButt, I'm wondering what's the total cost with the consulting fees, staff time, and now this tender?
With the consulting fees, I'd have to circle back around to that. Mr. McGuire, I can get back to you on that, but I would say that we're well within the $750,000 budget scope.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions? I think we got all thumbs up, and we've got some old equipment that's getting into place, so it's good news. So you're still there for another report for solids handling at the WPCB.
Right. Yeah. So this particular report is again for another procurement that we went out for services for a municipal class environmental assessment for a solid handling at the water pollution control plant. As council's aware, I know when Jason Barlow was here, there was lots of discussion, and council were brought up to speed on the issues that we're having at the water pollution control plant. with respect to our pelletizer. That piece of equipment's getting antiquated. Operationally, it poses a lot of problems for the operations team down at the plant. A lot of maintenance, a lot of repairs, a lot of replacement of parts, trying to keep it together so we can pelletize the sludge and then remarket it after the fact. So there has been times since over the last couple of weeks where we've had to take the pelletizer out of service and we bin the sludge, and then it has to be trucked away to a landfill facility just because of operational challenges we're having with the pelletizer itself. So the purpose of the report is to obtain council approval to award this RFP to SEMA Canada Incorporated in the amount of $148,736. Sorry, $148,736 excluding HST. We did have three submissions, RFP submissions, requests for proposals for this municipal Class EA. We had submissions from SEMA Canada Incorporated, J.L. Richards and Associates Limited, R.B. Anderson Associates Limited, and SEMA Canada Incorporated were the lowest of the three. We felt that they had a very, very strong technical proposal. They had the ability to do the work, as do the other two. It simply came down to, technically, they were all pretty much on par with one another, and at the end of the day, it came down to price. They were the cheapest. I'm recommending that we go with the lower of the three submissions. I will note that there was $163,950 approved in the 2024 capital budget, and the price including net HST for this award is just a little over $151,000. So we're within budget for this work. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions, anyone? Mayor Panko?
Thanks, Director McMahon. Just wondering if a climate lens will be applied to this process, understanding that our current process is very energy intensive. We spend a lot of money to dry and I guess convert the waste to solids. Same time, not very climate friendly with the amount of greenhouse gas emissions that are being produced through this. So will they keep that in mind? And I mean, like as an example, digestion and potentially capture of methane and turning methane into energy be something that would be considered through this process, or is it going to be more limited in scope?
I think it'll look at all that, Your Worship. The municipal Class EA does take into account environmental impacts on, that's primarily the reason that we do municipal class environmental assessment, is to see what those environmental impacts are. What kind of impact we have to the surrounding properties around, in this particular case, around the wastewater pollution control plant. I believe there was a question earlier before the meeting started about whether or not some of the two options that were suggested in the report from 2001 from CH2M Hill, whether or not they'd be looked at now. And let's keep in mind that that's over 20 years ago. And I believe that we will still look at the construction of a new on-site sludge storage tank with 20 days of storage, plan for an additional primary digester. Those are two options. They might not be the optimum solution for this particular work that we're looking at doing. But again, through municipal Class EA, we don't really rule anything out. Do nothing is always an option, and then it goes on from there. I believe we can, our consultant's going to, they're going to pull in information from best practices that others have done. They've done a number of these projects like this, as have the other two proponents as well. So we're not looking at necessarily reinventing the wheel, we're just looking at optimization and keeping our operational costs down. Mm-hmm. So I think we'll look at a number of different things. They will provide a recommendation based on what they feel is the best option for the town to proceed, and then it'll be council's decision based on the different options that they do present.
And time frame?
For the EA to be completed?
Yeah.
I think we're probably looking at, I believe we can get this wrapped up before the end of 2024. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'll support the recommendation.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, Councillor Quinn?
Do we make any money off of these pellets? Do we generate enough money? I know that's a hard question.
We make a tiny bit.
So
yeah.
It's not like we're out there making money by doing this. We're putting money out.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think everyone's going to support this motion.
Yeah.
Yes? And we saw this firsthand when we started. We had our tour, and both of these issues that we just talked about, we're well aware of the challenges out there. So That'll come forward later tonight for approval at council.
Okay.
So thank you for that. Okay, Director Clark, you're up for the next 3 items. The first one is our Parks Canada lease, the commercial waterfront for the purposes of swimming.
There you go.
There you go.
Good evening, everyone. So I am seeking approval of the lease that I provided to you. It's a standard renewal, essentially, of our agreement with Parks Canada, and it's for the swimming area in front of Murphy Park. It is a 5-year agreement for $279.50 per annum for the next 5 years.
Councilor McGuire?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Why do we need permission from parks to let people swim in the basin?
Because it's considered a water lot, so it's theirs. So we're leasing that space from them so that we can use it as we see fit.
So what use crosses the line that would require a permit?
I think, so I'd have to look into that, but from what I understand, based on my read of the lease, is that if we want to have it designated as a swimming area, then we would want to make sure that we have that use agreement, because it is technically their water lot. So we have, yeah, that's the use. We could probably do other things with it, like you want to stand there as opposed to swim, you could do that. But it's to guarantee the use that we have in front of the Murphy Park space, and where the raft is as well.
It seems silly to me that we need permission, but like anybody on the Rideau, I don't think has their water lot permission, but if the government has the time and the energy for this, I will support the recommendation.
Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I support the recommendation too. I have a couple of questions. One, just, it's a great question from Councilor McGuire. It might also protect the town from liability if anybody could just use it for any purpose. It kind of gives the town exclusive, so nobody else can pitch a tent there and start doing weird, wonderful things. Is there a separate agreement for the other swimming areas, or is it they're not as interested, or that because of its location?
This is the only one, through the chair over
Yes.
there. This is the only one that's come up for renewal, so I'd have to look into it, but we do have water lot agreements for a number of different spaces.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. And I think we renewed for Victoria Park last year.
Last year, yeah.
Yeah, so, okay, I think we have support on that, and that'll come forward at the next meeting in a little while, shortly. And the next one, the next lease is commercial water lot for the docks at Lower Reach.
Yes, thank you. So similar to the first, we do have renewal of the water lot for the docks at Lower Reach. And it is a 5-year agreement ending in 2029 for $325 per annum.
Thumbs up, questions? Thumbs down.
Okay.
The mem shows. Okay, so that'll come forward in a few minutes, hopefully. Okay, finally, the Station Theatre Facility Lease Renewal Report.
Okay,
You.
so just a note, this I accidentally put 2024 report number 2024-56. That is not the case. It is -64, just for the documents. For the record, so this is, I'm seeking approval for the execution of the lease agreement as drafted between the Smith Falls Community Theatre Foundation and the town. Pertinent information is that it is a 10-year agreement, similar to the existing lease or the previous lease we had with them. The town is responsible for purchasing and maintaining comprehensive building insurance coverage. We are responsible for repair, maintenance, replacement as the landlord of building systems and structures, so HVAC and the roof, etc. The tenant is solely responsible for all the consumables, namely the janitorial and utility costs. And we have an annual rent agreement, or hoping for $10,000 per annum. Recognizing that we are seeking funds on the Community Theatres Foundation's behalf to help them with the LED lighting project. We are hoping to provide them a $2,000 credit until such time as they get that LED in place as a recognition of the fact that there will be higher utility costs. So for the maximum of 2 years, it would be $8,000 per year for a maximum of 2 years, or until such time as the LED light project is completed.
Okay, questions? Councillor Robinson.
Thank you. I'll be supporting the staff recommendation. However, I just want to point out that I'm very disappointed that the Station Theatre facility is not being used to its full potential. I certainly expect that this situation will change over the course of this agreement to the benefit of both the theater group as well as the community. That's it.
Thank you for that. Councilor McGuire?
Thanks, Mr. Chair. Yeah, my question is, why do we do it this way instead of running it like the arena where staff take care of the scheduling and different groups can come in and use it?
I would say through the chair, frankly, because we are not interested from a municipality, I think, in engaging in a community theatre group. This is a fairly, or as a community theatre organization, this is a fairly standard municipal opportunity where we have a group of volunteers, a nonprofit situation wants to come in and run a community theatre. It would be, I think, cost prohibitive if the municipality was to do it. It's extraordinarily expensive if you're paying for the time. To run a theater. I, off the record, have run one theater production, and it was very time consuming. There was a lot that goes into it, and so I think the volunteer group, to have them download that opportunity is better, and they can do it better than I think we can. So it's pretty standard across the board as well.
Go ahead.
Thanks. And through the chair, why don't we put an RFP out to see what groups are interested in versus sole sourcing it like this?
So through the chair, the existing lease agreement offered a first right of refusal, effectively. So we didn't do that at this point. So we are engaging in hopefully another 10-year agreement. At that point, we can renew based on the terms one more time, and then we can put it out to the market if that's the case.
Last question through
Yep.
the chair. How will this 10-year agreement solve some of the problems we've been having with the previous 10-year agreement?
If I could get clarification on the questions that you're asking.
Different user scheduling. I don't know if there seems to be conflicts. Is everybody?
I think I understand what you're asking. So if I could, I think essentially this is about a tenant leaseholder agreement. This is specific for the use of the facility. How they run their organization is up to them. And so this is about managing the relationship from the town with the facility only, so specific to this. If there are other things that you're interested in having those engagement with, I would suggest that's outside of this lease.
So scheduling for the theaters outside of this lease?
Yes.
And how would scheduling with the theater be addressed?
I would suggest that through the chair, that the council member, because I think there's a member of council that participates in the community theater. Is that an accurate statement? No? I would suggest that a member of council, if they're interested, direct me to reach out to have that conversation, or a member of staff to have that conversation, separate and apart from the lease agreement. This is about the use of the facility. What they do in terms of their organization is up to them, and if we want to have some engagement with that and try to have some influence, then we can certainly have those conversations.
Thanks. So tonight, it doesn't address the scheduling concerns I've been hearing, so I'm not going to support it tonight.
Okay. Councilor McKenna?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm speaking in support of the recommendation, and I understand some of these concerns, and but I think it's outside of the scope of what we're doing here tonight. So I'm also really pleased with the volunteers who drive that, or very vibrant. It just enhances our whole community. So it's wonderful, the variety of activities that happen there and the number of shows, and it could always be better, of course, but it is a volunteer-driven organization, and I'm very pleased with the group, and I thank those volunteers for the countless hours they put in.
Thank you for that. Councillor Quinn?
Thank you. I also have some concerns. I think it's a wonderful group. I think they're doing great promotions there, but I do believe that the facility itself could be utilized more than it is. And I just kind of shook my head because I looked at the rental agreement and I'm thinking, I have a little wee tiny spot in a building where I operate my hair salon out of, and I pay about half that amount per year in rent, and I have a very small spot. So to me, it's just not generating enough money for the town. I think we need to be looking at what we could do to utilize the building more so and generate more income there. And you know what? Maybe we need a councillor sitting on their board. Maybe we need someone there so that we can hear what they have to say, so it can come back here. And a 10-year agreement, I would prefer to see it less, so that we could give them maybe a couple of years to see what we can get going and get the facility used more, and then we could look at doing a long-term agreement. But I won't be supporting this tonight. I think there needs to be more work done here. I'm not saying cancel at all. I'm just saying I think it needs to be more. Thank you.
Thanks for that. Mayor Panko?
Thanks, Director Clark, and hope you had a great vacation.
It was awesome.
Do you have information available right now as to the expenses we carry for this facility? The total?
Through the chair, and I have to, off the top of my head, it's about 16,000 per annum for utilities, which we are then downloading onto with this new agreement. We
Yes.
currently pay for them,
Yes.
but we'll be downloading them in the upcoming iteration. And it is, Costello, correct me, 9,400 this year for insurance. That's moving up to about 13,000, I believe. Is that correct? I think so. Around 13,000 for insurance. So we're running in the neighborhood of approximately 30,000, 35,000 outside of any capital repairs or anything that would be required.
So our net cost after recovery of the 10,000 and with the theater group taking over utilities is fairly modest every year. It's the potential capital costs, I guess, which will be a challenge at some point, right? I know we did the repointing a number of years ago. We financed that, so that is ongoing, so the cost for that every year. I think it's the bigger things like if we have to replace HVAC, things like that, that maybe there's grants down the road, but we have to be conscious, I guess, when we do our asset management plan, there's a cost. Like the senior center, which is widely used in the community, and I think we had a delegation last week, and somewhere around 35,000 people in there, not individual, but visits every year. It's a community asset which brings value, which obviously we pay a cost to maintain that, would be a cost to maintain this, provide this facility. So I'll support the recommendation and recognize that this is a landlord and tenant contract. What I would like to understand, and maybe it's a matter of having our station theater people come back and talk about utilization in the future, maybe as a delegation, and let us know what's going on there every year. I mean, it's one thing to look at the calendar and see here's what's happening throughout the year. We know that there's going to be multiple weekends where we can go and enjoy community theater. We know there is rehearsals at different points in time. We know it's rented out for different points in time. But I think that some of the concerns that have been expressed here and received, we want to make sure that the use is optimized for the community. And then try to accommodate all potential users, all various forms of entertainment, so that the benefit this facility provides goes just. Community theater might be the base of it, but there's a lot of other things which are involved. And I know there are things that are happening there now that, unless you're checking the calendar or attending, you may not be aware of. But I would appreciate if maybe if you guys can come forward in the next several weeks and just give us an idea, a snapshot into the operations, type of activities, how many days of the year it's actually being utilized, and the type of benefits it's bringing to our community.
Thank you for that. Councillor Miller, and then me.
Thank you. We're really fortunate to have a group in a space that's dedicated to the arts, and I'd like to echo Councillor McKenna's comments and gratefulness for the dedicated group of volunteers that run the place. I do support the recommendation. I would prefer that this was a 5-year lease so that we would have a chance to review in a more timely fashion, especially when we have capital projects coming up and when we're keenly interested in the use of this space and maximizing this beautiful asset in Smiths Falls.
Okay, thank you for that. So I'll be last, and I'll say that really, first of all, to the theater people that are here, it's without their blood, sweat, and tears. I don't know what it was, 15, 20 years ago. That we had the theater, and it was their work that did it and made it what it is today. So I want to thank you for that. However, we have another lease before us that is remarkably similar than a lease that was written 10 years ago, and the theater is so well used and loved for all different things. And I'm not sure that there's any updating in the lease here. And as Mayor Panko said, that, you know, there is cost involved to us, which is, we own the property, so I understand that. For instance, I think there was $60,000 in the budget this year for the stonework outside. And in the report, I think you mentioned something about a roof. The roof is going to need it sooner rather than later. So, which is fine, and not to discount the good work that's is done by the theater group. I would love to see it used almost every night and all through the summer, and so I would agree with the mayor that I'd like to see what I can look at the calendar. I have looked at the calendar for the summer, and it's not full, so if we could somehow work together. So to go forward for now, I'll ask my colleagues, can we put this on the shelf? It's not going to come forward tonight no matter what, but it'll come the next council meeting. Can we put this off for another meeting, for another get some understanding from staff of what the finances are, and maybe get some understanding from the theater group as well, and then we'll talk about it again.
Sounds good.
Is that, everyone okay with that? Yeah?
Sure.
So we have more questions, that's all it is.
Yeah. Are we already beyond the end of the contract?
So through the chair, yes, but we have extended until June 1st. So we have until June 1st, ideally, to make it happen.
Well,
If I could get some clarification on the question. So when you say financial, are you talking about year over year?
well, I think through what the mayor was asking, total it all up, the insurance, now we've downloaded the utilities, but, you know, what are we paying out, and I'd like to see what's actually going on at the theater. Mayor Panko?
Yeah, and I guess knowing the asset management plan should be complete by July 1, I believe. I assume we've got quite a bit of work on the state of the conditions of this, and we're forecasting what capital work will be required in future years. So maybe that can come forward earlier rather than after July 1st.
And, okay. And okay, go ahead, Councilor McKenna.
Just if you really want to look at the cost, you have to look at the benefits as well. You can't just the thousands of hours of volunteer time that go in that we pay nothing for, the tourism benefits, cultural value, the impact on the community. It's if you just want to be told and calculate and look at what are we, but you have to look at the other side of that ledger, and that's an investment. It's not a cost. It's well worth that. This is very little money for that return on this investment. So I'm ready to move ahead tonight, but I'll go with the will of council.
Okay. Okay, thanks for that. And I totally agree with you. I just want to make sure that that jewel is being fully utilized. So, and the other question I had is it's June 1st. What happens after June 1st if we haven't done? I mean,
So if I may,
we still have to do it.
Yeah, so there's a couple of pressure points I think in the old lease. So there has been significant change to even though it looks similar in terms of the financing things, there has been some significant updates. In addition to what's put forth, there's also a new overholding clause. There's a new termination clause for us. Those things don't exist in the previous lease that is there. There is a first right of refusal for in the existing lease where they go back to the same terms as what they, for the next 10 years, as what they had for the previous 10 years. It is in town's best interest, I believe, and as well as the theater group to move forward with this lease as it is, which is why I'm recommending it. But I think we need to be conscious that they do have a clause in the previous lease that allows them to, at their discretion, enact an additional 10 years under the same terms.
Okay. So I'd still like to posit, I agree with Councillor Miller about the length of term as well. So can we have another discussion? This is a special cow, so we can have another discussion next week? Are we okay with that? Sure. Okay, thanks.
And just, sorry if I can clarify, so you'd also asked about a delegation. Are you hoping for the delegation to come forward next week, or soon as possible, not to
Sure.
schedule them?
If it's possible,
That
I
would be
guess.
great, yeah.
Not to schedule you?
No.
Okay,
Okay, thanks for that.
thank you, yeah, no worries.
Thank you. Okay. Uh, No committee, board, and external organization updates. No information listed, correspondence items, no notice of motions. A recommended motion that the committee adjourn its proceedings at 5:35 and stand so adjourned until the next duly called committee meeting. Moved by Councillor McKenna, seconded by Councillor Robinson. All in favor?
Couple of minutes to get ourselves organized. Okay. Welcome back to the meeting of Smith Falls Town Council for Tuesday, May 21st, 2024. On May 21st, 2024, we acknowledge the sacred land in which Smith Falls is now located has been a site of human activity for over 10,000 years in its rich and indigenous history. This land is the ancestral and unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe Nation. We are grateful to the Algonquin ancestors who cared for the land and water in order that we might be here today. We're also grateful to the Algonquin people for their contribution in the making of the Rideau Canal, which runs through Smith Falls. We are mindful of broken covenants and the need to reconcile with all our relations. Together, may we care for this land and each other, drawing on the strength of our mutual history of nation building through peace and friendship, and be mindful of generations to come. I will call the meeting to order at 5:40 p.m. Councillor Brennan, you have a motion for the approval of the agenda.
I do. Move by myself, seconded by Councillor Miller, that the May 21st, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan, seconded by Councillor Miller, that the May 21st, 2024 regular council meeting agenda be approved as circulated. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Ask for disclosure of pecuniary interest and or conflict of interest and general nature thereof. Seeing none. Councillor McGuire, you have the approval of minutes.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Miller that the minutes of the April 22nd, 2024 council meeting be approved as circulated.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor McGuire, seconded by Councillor Miller, that the minutes of the April 22nd, 2024 council meeting be approved as circulated. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Council reports. Councillor Brennan.
Yeah, just one report from the Heritage House. They asked me to pass this along to everyone. Just what's going on, some of the things that are going on. And I just immediately, Beetlejuice, which is a celebration of, I think 50 years. I think it's 50 years of the beat, or more than that. 60. And they were printed at RCA. Their records are printed here. So they're having an exhibit, and they're having of RCA materials and everything Beatles. And on June 1st, they're going to have a little celebration. The exhibit will open at 2:30. At 4 o'clock, there'll be an event with a Beatles cover band, and music and tacos to me will be on site for tacos for sale. So put that on your calendar. I know they're pushing it on social media, but that'll be a lot of fun at 4 o'clock. Their summer camps this year are set for July 15th to 19th and August 12th to 16th. And they run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The cost is $40 a day or $175 for the week per child. Spaces are limited, so please contact Sienna Colley at the Heritage House and to book your spot. And also, big news is the Movies Under the Stars is returning. I think I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago. So they're getting ready for another season, and just stay tuned to their Facebook page and the website for details of when the movies will begin. I suspect they're coming soon. So, and finally, there's an art show all summer long. It celebrates nature and use of vibrant colors to highlight the beauty of the outdoors. Entry to the shows by donation. The artist's name is Renat Natty Wesley. So please be sure to check that out. So that's the Heritage House news for tonight.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor Brennan? Other reports? Councillor McKenna?
Thank you, Your Worship. Couple of things. I attended a very great Old Home Week committee last week. Their calendar's filling in. There's events for all of the full 7 days. There's a postcard that every resident in Smith Falls would get with their water bill, or they'll get it electronically, that you can forward out to anyone that you know and you want them to come during Old Home Week. You can mail it out to your friends and hold the date. There's a lot of promotional material. The things are really moving ahead. They've got prices for bands, prices for the drone show. They've got prices for just about everything, quotes. And they've received very significant donations from some local businesses already. We're talking over $30,000 in the first couple of weeks of asking. So the investment that the town is putting in like other old home weeks, we probably, I don't want to promise it, but there was always a return on that investment, and I think committee's doing a great job. The subcommittees now are starting to work, and there's people that would like to do committee work, and then there are people that want to work on the actual events leading up to. So there's people that want to hands-on, roll up your sleeves, jump in, and so it's going very, very well. Just wanted to bring that to your attention. And the other was, I am, as your representative on public health, we have our public health board meeting this week. We also have the merger committee, which is now called Southeast Transition Team. So that action is going ahead. We're in regular contact with the ministry, who are funding the costs to date, and not everything that we've asked for yet, but that's still negotiation. So it's going well. I could speak to the Community Services Committee, but I can't remember if you were going to speak to that one.
I actually, you're going to go ahead because I left you before you did.
Well, the important matter was the two upper tiers, the provincial government and federal government, are at odds over housing dollars. There's a report card that comes with all of the federal provincial agreement that's having an impact at the local level, where they're disagreeing on how units are getting counted and reported up. It's a significant dollar difference. So we want them to get that sorted out. It's impacting county housing, and it may be resolved as I speak. I'm not sure, I haven't heard, but it's really important that the feds and the province get that together, because it has an impact on the work and the citizens that we're serving. So that was the big takeaway from that
A lot
meeting.
of the homelessness prevention dollars.
All of that has a real impact.
Thank you. Any questions for Councillor McKenna? Any reports over here? No. A couple of myself. May 7th, I attended the National Prayer Breakfast in Ottawa with the team from Wills Transfer, Terry and Jordy Wills, and our MP, a number of other officials from the area. But it was very encouraging just to see that kind of an environment. The Prime Minister, leader of the opposition, a number of other major political leaders were there, and always a heartwarming event. Always an opportunity to, I guess, see the faith of the broader group alive in such an important event. May 8th, like many others here, I participated in McHappy Day, and always a blast. Always great to spend some time working the drive-through, the front counter at McDonald's, and that day the McDonald's that are owned by Carter Foods at Kemptville, Smith Falls, Carleton Place raised over $75,000 for Ronald McDonald House and the 2 Ronald McDonald rooms at Cheel. So always a great event, and obviously supporting a very important cause. On May 9th, I attended the Smith Falls For All Committee meeting, and wanted to just announce we'll be hosting an event on June 22nd between 10 and 2 in the town square. It's really a welcome to Smith Falls open house, primarily aimed to newcomers in our community, but all are welcome. There will be activities for children, a variety of community partners, and one of the main reasons to have this event is to help people in the community, especially newcomers, connect to the variety of resources which are available through our community. So a number of them will be there. Be a barbecue. Everyone's welcome again from 10 to 2 on June 22nd. And you mentioned County Council, and then May 15th we had a Police Service Board meeting, and I don't really much to report from there, other than we had a good presentation regarding some of the key performance indicators that we'd like to follow, and the trends that happen within that, our clearance rates, our crime severity index, and things like that. So a valuable Police Service Board meeting from that perspective. That's all I have for my announcements. Now, presentations and proclamations. I've got to go through a couple other things on announcements. There's no meeting for June 3rd. So the Kinsman will be hosting a Citizen of the Year banquet, which will be June 3rd. And we want to make sure that the council members could attend that evening. So we've been able to, staff been able to work around our meeting schedule, make sure we're free that night. The second exciting part is the town is taking part in a marriage license modernization pilot. And the town is taking part in the second phase of the Marriage License Modernization Pilot Initiative. This initiative aims to streamline and transform both the paper-based marriage license application process for applicants and the issuance process for municipalities in Ontario by moving towards a digital delivery model. So the second phase launched to 6 municipalities in March of 23. Smith Falls is one of those, of course. Plans to onboard all interested municipalities province-wide by 24 or 25. Another 5 municipalities went live in October 23, making for a total of 11. So 2 portals have been developed for those, anyone here might be interested in getting a marriage license. They're listening at home. Citizen portal, an online marriage license application for the public so they can apply for a marriage license and submit their ID supporting documents electronically. And a municipal portal, a platform which enables municipalities to retrieve, review, and process application packages alongside printing and communication capabilities. So visit smithfalls.ca/gettingmarried or call 613-283-4124 extension 1125. And Clerk Costello has been very active in managing this whole file, so thank you for your leadership. And I got a couple of proclamations. First one is National Accessibility Week. And over the past year, Easter Seals have made significant progress and have had great success in raising awareness and identifying actionable steps to create more accessible and inclusive communities. Their collaborative efforts have included participation from over 20 Ontario school boards, 62 Ontario MP and MPPs, and 14 other Ontario municipalities, numerous high-profile figures, and dedicated individuals. So since 1922, Easter Seals Ontario has been a leading voice for children and youth with physical disabilities. The enduring commitment to the well-being and empowerment of individuals with disabilities drives them to champion important initiatives like National Accessibility Week and Red Shirt Day. And by participating in these impactful events, we're not only acknowledging the challenges faced by Canadians with disabilities, but also committing to be part of the solution. So I'll read the proclamation. Whereas throughout Canada and each year, the week starting on the last Sunday in May is known as National Accessibility Week, and it's an opportunity to promote inclusion and accessibility in our communities and workplaces, to celebrate our progress and to be inspired to further break down accessibility barriers. Whereas many Ontarians live with some form of disability, and as a result, there's a need for greater awareness, enhanced service delivery, and opportunities for persons with disabilities. Whereas individuals with disabilities are impacted daily by barriers to information, facilities, employment, transportation, and communication supports, therefore negatively challenging individuals' ability to fully participate in community life. Whereas accessibility and inclusion are essential for ensuring that all community members have equity and opportunities and ability to fully participate in community life. Whereas Council of the Corporation of Town of Smith Falls is committed to accessibility and has an Accessibility Advisory Committee to play a pivotal role in helping the Town of Smith Falls become a barrier-free community. Whereas Council of the Corporation of Town of Smith Falls formed the Smith Falls for All Committee to advance the town's efforts to further develop a diverse and inclusive community that provides equity to all its citizens. Now therefore be it resolved that I, Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smith Falls, do hereby proclaim May 26th to June 3rd, 2024 as National Accessibility Week, and come together to celebrate the valuable contributions and leadership of Canadians with disabilities. And the Red Shirt Day of Action of Accessibility and Inclusion, established by Easter Seals Canada in 2019, takes place this year on Wednesday, March 29th, and all citizens across country are encouraged to wear red to show their support and solidarity for persons and families of those living with disabilities. Next proclamation is Pride Month, and whereas the Town of Smith Falls supports the rights of every citizen to experience equality and freedom from discrimination, and accepts and welcomes people of diverse backgrounds, and believes that diverse population leads to a more vibrant community. And whereas all people, regardless of race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, marital status, genetic characteristics, or disability, have the right to be treated on the basis of their intrinsic value as human beings. Whereas Pride Month is a month-long celebration that recognizes the LGBTQ+ community and their contributions to society, and it's a time to acknowledge the challenges faced by this community and to stand in solidarity with their fight for equality, acceptance, and human rights. Whereas Pride Month is a joyful and colorful display of love, unity, and resilience, with events and activities that promote inclusivity, educate the public, and celebrate the diversity of sexual orientations and gender identities. Now therefore be resolved that I, Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smith Falls, do hereby proclaim June 2024 as Pride Month in the Town of Smith Falls and encourage our residents to reflect on the ongoing struggle for equality members of the LGBTQ plus community face, and to celebrate the contributions that enhance our municipality. And for those who haven't noticed, our pride sidewalks were refreshed just late last week. So I want to thank Director McMahon and his team, and whoever's painted this year, I'm sure it's a more pleasant experience than last year's painting in 35-degree temperatures. So anyway, thank you very much for getting those refreshed. And the final proclamation is Seniors Month, Working for Seniors, June 2024. Where Seniors Month is an annual nationwide celebration where seniors have contributed and continue to contribute immensely to the life and vibrancy of this community. Where seniors continue to serve as leaders, mentors, volunteers, and important and active members of this community. Whereas their contributions, past and present, warrant appreciation and recognition, and their stories deserve to be told. Whereas the health and well-being of seniors is in the interest of all and further adds to the health and well-being of the community. Whereas the knowledge and experience seniors pass on to us continues to benefit all. Now therefore be resolved by Sean Panko, Mayor of the Town of Smith Falls, to hereby proclaim June 2024 as Seniors Month in the Town of Smith Falls and encourage our citizens to recognize and celebrate the accomplishments of our seniors. And that's it for the proclamations. One final piece, I guess, when it comes to inclusion and anti-bullying, there will be a pink bench which will be installed at the corner here. It's going to be our inclusion corner. Everyone's welcome to enjoy it, and that will be installed. Do we have a date yet?
It was hopefully in the next couple of weeks. It was supposed to be done in conjunction with the crosswalks.
Okay.
Obviously the crosswalks.
So it'll be in place by June.
Priorities, so very soon.
Super. Thank you very much. Okay, moving ahead. We have consent agenda, and that motion is with Councillor Brennan, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor McKenna, that the items in consent report number 07-2024 received from the clerk be received and adopted.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan, seconded by Councillor McKenna. The items in the consent report 07-2024 received from the clerk be received and adopted. Would anyone like to pull any item out of the consent agenda? And Clerk Estelle, I'll turn this over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Worship. There's two bylaws this evening on the consent agenda. The first being a bylaw for the tax rates and policies for the purposes of raising general municipal revenue for the year 2024. The second bylaw is regarding the community improvement plan funding agreements. There are 6 properties listed. As you recall, committee of the whole, there was 7 that were presented. There's one that will be brought back to committee of the whole, and that was 17 to 23 Bethel, so it has not been included in the consent agenda. Again, there's 4 resolutions on this evening's consent agenda. The first being the annual repayment limit for 2024. The second being the award of the official plan update project. The third being the subsection 2716 of the Ontario Heritage Act that Manager Fredke brought forward. And the fourth and final being funding for the 2024 municipal equipment operator course, which was a correspondence item that council supported.
Thank you. Any item to be pulled and discussed further? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And Councillor Robinson, you're up next. Oh wait, sorry, wrong page. Councillor McKenna.
Thank you, Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smith Falls award contract 24 PW017 for the supply and installation of primary and final tank gates at the Water Pollution Control Plant. And further, the Council authorized the Mayor and Clerk to execute a contract agreement with Pearl Pipe Construction, a division of Delcon Construction Limited, to an upset limit of $364,496.91, excluding HST.
Thank you. And discussion, please.
Yes, this was part of our asset management plan, and it was identified and approved in our capital budget for 2024 that we replace the gates that were first installed in 1962. They're tired and need replacing and not sealing properly, and this is an important part of the function of our wastewater plant. And we were pleased with the 2 bids, and this was the winning bid.
Thank you. Any further comments or questions? you. It's moved by Councillor McKenna, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that the Council of Corporation of the Town of Smiths Falls award contract 24-PW-017 for the supply and installation of primary and final tank gates at the Water Pollution Control Plant. And further, the council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute a contract agreement with ProPipe Construction, division of Dalcon Constructors Limited, to an offset limit of $364,496.91, excluding HST. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And Councillor Miller, you've got the next motion.
Thank you. Moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Quinn, that Council of the Corporation of the Town of Smiths Falls award RFP 24-PW-013 to SEMA Canada Inc. for professional services for the municipal class environmental assessment for solids handling at the Water Pollution Control Plant. And further, that Council authorize the mayor and the clerk to execute a contract agreement with SEMA Canada Inc. to an upset amount of $148,736 excluding HST.
Thank you. And further discussion?
So we've had some operational issues at the wastewater treatment plant in regards to solids management, and a recent report suggested that upgrades are necessary. So this assessment will look at our options and make a recommendation on how we should move forward.
Thank you. Any further comments? Councillor McKenna.
Just thank you, Your Worship, but just to stress the question you asked during the committee of the whole regarding the screen, for lack of a better word, of the view of climate change and the impact on that. I hope that that is part of the scope of that. And I know our committee would really like to see that as well.
Good point.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Miller, seconded by Councillor Quinn, the Council of Corporation of Town of Smiths Falls award RFP 24-PW-013 to SEMA Canada Inc. for professional services for the municipal class environmental assessment for solids handling at the Water Pollution Control Plant. And further, the council authorized the mayor and clerk to execute a contract agreement with SEMA Canada Inc. to an upset amount of $148,736 excluding HST. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Okay, two bylaws tonight. Councillor Quinn, you have the first one.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to authorize execution of a lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1202 between His Majesty the King in the right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada and the Town of Smith Falls be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. It's moved by Councillor Quinn and seconded by Councillor Robinson. The bylaw to authorize execution of the lease agreement with number 85-1924-606-1202 between His Majesty the King and the right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada and the Town of Smith Falls be received read a first time and taken as read a second time. All in favor? Carried. Discussion, Councillor Quinn?
This is an agreement that we're entering into with Parks Canada, and is pertaining to the properties at the Murphy Building where our swimming area is.
Thank you. Any further questions or comments? Maybe third reading, please.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to authorize execution of the lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1202 between His Majesty the King and the right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada and the Town of Smith Falls be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10547-2024.
Thank you. It's moved by Councillor Quinn, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to authorize execution of a lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1202 between His Majesty the King and the right of Canada, as represented by Parks Canada, and the Town of Smiths Falls be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10547-2024. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. And Councillor Robinson, you have a next bylaw.
Thank you, Your Worship. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Quinn, the bylaw to authorize execution of lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1201 between His Majesty the King in right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
Thank you. It's moved by Councillor Robinson, seconded by Councillor Quinn, the bylaw to authorize execution of lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1201 between His Majesty the King and right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada be received, read a first time, and taken as read a second time. All in favor? Carried. Discussion, please.
Thank you. As discussed earlier, this is to renew the lease with Parks Canada for 5 years at a cost of $325 a year to have dogs at Lower Beach Park.
Thank you. Any further comments? Third reading, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Quinn, that a bylaw to authorize execution of lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1201 between His Majesty the King in right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10548-2024.
Thank you. It's moved by Councillor Robinson and seconded by Councillor Quinn. The bylaw to authorize execution of a lease agreement number 85-1924-606-1201 between His Majesty the King and right of Canada as represented by Parks Canada, being now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10548-2024. All in favor? Carried. Any inquiries or announcements? Yes, Councillor Mallard.
Thank you. So just a reminder, it's a busy weekend coming up in the neighborhood. Porch Fest is on this Saturday. It is a community-driven, artist-led annual neighborhood music festival. According to their website, it's just a really great time. And more information can be found at porchfestivals.com.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes, Councillor McKenna.
Well, we're going to advertise this Saturday, the fishing tournament, children's fishing tournaments, 10 a.m. at Lower Reach Park. You're asked to register in advance, but I know that they'll register children there. It's a wonderful event to take my grandkids. And the other is after that at Settlers Ridge, between Porch Fest and Settlers Ridge, there's the Perth Smith Falls Hospital Foundation is having a family fun day, and it's all afternoon. It looks terrific. There's just so much going on, but I'm sure you can get it all in.
Thank you. Anything further? No. Moving on to our confirmatory bylaw. Councillor Brennan, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting on the 8th, 15th, and 22nd day of April 2024 be received and read a first time and taken as read a second time.
It's moved by Councillor Brennan, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting on the 8th, 15th, and 22nd days of April 2024 be received, read a first time, and taken as read a second time. All in favor? Carried. Discussion, Councillor Brennan?
Strictly procedural, and that's what we do.
Third reading, please.
Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Robinson, that a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting on the 8th, 15th, and 22nd day of April 2024 be now read a third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and numbered 10549-2024.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Brennan, seconded by Councillor Robinson. The bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting on the 8th, 15th, and 22nd days of April 2024. You know, for the third time and finally passed, signed, sealed, and number 10549-2024. All in favor? Carried. And our final piece of business is adjournment with Councillor Miller, please.
Thank you. Moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Brennan, that this council adjourn its proceedings at 6:08 p.m. and stands adjourned until the next meeting called.
Thank you. Moved by Councillor Miller and seconded by Councillor Brennan. This council adjourned proceedings at 6:08 p.m. and so adjourned until the next duly called meeting of council. All in favor? We are adjourned. Good night, everyone.
We're gonna have a
Well, I could have a little talk.